Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Boy, does it feel good to be filming right now. I have actually missed being in front of the camera, and I did take a bit of a break from YouTube after I came back from my European vacation. I just needed to unwind, get my head back into reality, and also get back into my routine. Work got a little bit crazy, but that's not to say I haven't been putting products to the test behind the scenes. I've actually got a lot of holiday collections that I have been testing out, and I've also ordered a lot of crap that probably aren't holiday collections, but I've got lots of videos coming up for you, lots of eyeshadow palette reviews, which I guess seem to be my thing. I love a good eyeshadow palette, and I always want to find the best one out there that is going to give you amazing value and amazing formulation and ease of use. And to be quite honest with you, today in this video, I think I have found the every woman's palette, or the every man's palette, or the every artist's palette. And it's actually by Pixi. So it is I'm gonna call it a drugstore brand because I can only find this in the drugstore. It's Pixi by Petra, and this is the Ultimate Beauty Kit 5th edition. It is one of their holiday collections, and this one is titled Heavenly Hues. If you're interested in hearing what I have to say about this palette and also seeing some swatches and the palette in action, make sure you keep on watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Alright, party people, I was at the drugstore not that long ago. I'd say about 4 weeks now, yeah, almost a month, and I saw this palette at Shoppers Drug Mart. For anyone who is living outside of Canada, Shoppers Drug Mart is a drugstore here in Canada, and they carry a bunch of different cosmetic brands. I think within the last maybe 2, possibly 3 years, they started carrying Pixi, and I was so stoked when I saw that Pixi had come out with a holiday collection that included a gigantic eyeshadow palette, but also a bit of a face palette as well. So I picked it up without even looking at the price, and if I'm not mistaken, this probably cost me between $40 to $50. So it is a little bit up there, but you get so much product in here for your dollar. I started playing with this eyeshadow palette and face palette, and immediately I realized I was in love. Before I dive into the palette itself, let me talk about the packaging. So it does come in this beautiful box right here. You've got the palette, I guess, right on the cover. It's beautiful gold, green, and silver reflective packaging in true Pixi style. On the back, you've got the ingredients for the eyeshadow and face palette. Of course, you got Petra on there as well, and that pretty much covers the box. What's more important than the box is the palette itself. So when you pull it out, it's actually quite thick. That's what she said. I can't help it. I love Michael Scott. The palette itself is the same type of packaging that the box is made of. So you've got your gold, your silver, and green. You crack it open, take off the protective layer, and the first side of the palette is all matte shadows. So you have 20 all matte shadows in here. I know what you're probably thinking when you immediately look at this. You're like, these shadows aren't that exciting, but these are the colors you actually use on a regular basis. And to be quite honest with you, when I was first looking at all of these colors put together, it reminded me of my Viseart Neutral Mattes and Dark Mattes palette, and the formulation of these is a really great one. I didn't notice any weird ingredients, but this palette is not vegan and it is not cruelty free. It's got a shelf life of 12 months, and it is made in the People's Republic of China. Once you continue opening the palette, I'll take out the protective layer from that as well. The other side gives you 20 foiled or metallic shadows, and then right in the middle you have a bunch of different face colors. So you have highlighters, a matte brown, which I kind of use as a bronzer. You've got a few blush shades in here, just a bunch of colors you can make really good use out of. You have beautiful neutral colors in here. Hopefully you can see the whole palette and still hear me back here. This whole palette is just stunning. I look at the colors and I think there's so much in here that I can use and actually get my money's worth, because these are the kinds of colors that I do wear on a regular basis. I know I love playing with loud, obnoxious colors. I've actually been testing out the new Violet Voss mini palettes. I bought the Fruit Sorbet one. Oh my goodness, these colors are fantastic to work with, so much fun to play around with, but they're not the colors that I'm gonna wear to a work meeting or wear on a date, or, well, yeah, that's about it. I mean, I probably would wear them anywhere else, but for those regular days where you just have errands or you're running around trying to do stuff, these are the types of colors that you're gonna take the most advantage of. Now, granted, this palette, when laid out, is quite large, but you have so much product in here, and I am loving the formulation of all of these. I am wearing the eyeshadow palette on my eyes today. I'm also wearing a few of the face palette colors too. Let me show you this palette in action. I started off using this sort of a nudie color over here all over my lid just to set my eye primer down, so I just kind of washed that all over my lid. Afterwards, I went into this beautiful caramel brown and I started putting that into my crease. I blew that out a little bit more with the brown next door. And then from there, I went into this darker brown because I wanted to add a little bit of dimension to the outer corner of my eye, which is a typical step that I take. Having laid down such a neutral base and then looking at all of these beautiful foiled colors, I really didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. And at first, I was just gonna go with a straight gold color. Then I thought I can do something a little more bronze, but I wanted to test out something that would be a little bit darker, a little bit smokier. So I went in to this beautiful sort of blackish purple eggplant foiled color, and I threw that all over my lid. On its own, I loved the way it looked. It is a little bit crumbly though, I will tell you that, with most of these foil colors, but oh, the color payoff seriously makes it worth it. You are gonna get fallout with these foil colors though. I did feel the shadow dripping down my face, which is why I had a lot of face powder under there, because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to contain the mess. But this color here applied beautifully. I did apply it dry, and you can see when it's dry, it is still a stunning color. If you wet your brush, and I've done this with my previous tests of this palette, you do get an even more foiled finish, but because these shadows are so creamy and buttery, you really don't need the wetting of the brush. I'd say if they were a baked shadow, or if they were a little bit drier, then sure, go ahead, use a little bit of Fix Plus or whatever you have at home, but these ones don't need it. I love the way this color was looking, but I knew I wanted a little more of a pop, so I actually went in to this really cool magenta, like a dark magenta color, and I patted that all over my lid. Again, I thought I was just gonna do a bit of a spotlight in the center of my eye, but it turns out I got a little crazy and I shoved it all over my lid on top of this color, and I love the way the final color turned out. It is this beautiful purpley pink color, but it's got this deep blackness to it. I love it. It looks like the universe on my eyes. For my face, I did use the matte bronzer over here. Be warned, there is a lot of kick up when you dig your brush into this pan. If that's not an issue for you, blow the kick up away and you're good to go. If it is an issue for you, well, it happens. I put the bronzer all over my face, and as you can see, it does not look muddy. It added a beautiful amount of warmth to my face. The only thing I'm gonna say is that this shade here is great for my skin tone, but it may not be great for somebody else with a deeper complexion than myself. They do have a couple of other deeper shades over here, but they do have a more metallic finish to them, so I don't think most people really like to use metallic bronzers. I don't know, there's just something about a metallic bronzer that, I don't know, doesn't jive with me anymore. It really accentuates too much texture. So that's my one gripe, I'd say, with the face palette. The colors don't really resonate with all different skin tones, but I was able to make this bronzer work. I did apply this blush over here. I loved the way it looked. I did have to build it up. Initially, I found there wasn't a lot of pigment that was coming off with my blush brush, so I just kept building it up until I got the consistency and color that I was looking for. Again, blended out beautifully. This middle blush color right here, good lord, I actually think this is a good dupe for NARS's Orgasm. Holy moly, it looks so nice. It might be a little more on the lighter pink side, whereas Orgasm is a little more on the dark pink side, but man, it's beautiful. But as with the other metallic eyeshadows that I was telling you about, all of these powders are very, very crumbly, so do be careful with that. Don't drop this palette because I have a feeling these colors would get crushed. For a highlight, I did use this really cool frosty color over here, and it gave me a really nice glow on my cheeks. I love the way it turned out. It's not so overpowering, but it does have a small blinding effect to it. I feel like this palette on a whole can give you so many different looks. It is just a very versatile palette that's got lots of options for you. I'm loving this palette. I know I'm going to be getting my money's worth from it, and I would highly recommend, if you can find this palette at the drugstore or order it online, pick it up. Do not sleep on this. It will not disappoint you. It's a hidden gem in the drugstore right now. I think for the beauty lover in your family or your circle of friends would absolutely love this as a gift as well. So if you're stuck on what to get somebody for the holidays, this here would be a great palette. And that's gonna do it for this review. I really hope you enjoyed it. I also hope that you found it helpful. If you did, give the video a big thumbs up and also leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of this palette or what your go-to all-in-one eyeshadow palette or face palette is. As always, guys, if you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, make sure to follow me on all of my social media. I will make sure to link everything for you in the description box below. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you are all having a fantabulous day, no matter where you are in the world. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.